Did Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelation kill the live-action He-Man film at Netflix? I don't know, but I think it could be a big possibility. But let's get into this story. We have a new report from Variety's Matt Donnelly that the Masters of the Universe, a live-action movie based on He-Man and a slew of other popular Mattel toys, is officially dead at Netflix, according to multiple Variety sources. He added, insiders said that close to $30 million has already been spent on development costs, and the cash has been shelled out to hold on to talent, like previously announced lead Kyle Allen and the film's heat-seeking directing duo Adam and Aaron Nee. But $30 million might be on the low end. Donnelly notes other knowledgeable sources estimate all-in costs for development at twice that figure. So $60 million Netflix might have spent already on this film. Before this report, the movie already had a troubled pre-production. Noah Centineo, who played Atom Smasher in last year's Black Adam, was originally cast to play He-Man in the film back in 2019. At that time, the film was expected to be produced by Sony Pictures. However, in January 2022, the character was recast with West Side Story's Kyle Allen taking on the role. With Allen taking on the role, the project was also moved to Netflix. Mattel Films producer Robbie Brenner confirmed the move at the time, saying, Masters of the Universe is an iconic property that shaped the imaginations of an entire generation of kids with the message of becoming the best version of yourself. With our partners at Netflix, we look forward to showing audiences that anything can happen in Eternia. We are continuing to unlock this global franchise in new ways, and we can't wait to see Kyle battle it out with Skeletor in this epic live-action saga. In fact, the film's producers know that they've been trying to get a live-action film made for 14 years. Todd Black, Jason Blumenthal, and Steve Tisch issued a joint statement at the time. We've always been inspired by the fantastical world of Eternia. This movie has been 14 years in the making for us and our partners, and we are so excited to tell an entirely new story for Masters of the Universe with the Nee brothers and Dave Callahan for Mattel and Netflix and share it with a global audience. Callahan's addition was also new for the project at Netflix. Art Markham and Matt Holloway had previously worked on a script for the film while it was at Sony. Dave Callum is just absolutely terrible scriptwriter. He did Wonder Woman 1984. I think that's all you need to know about how terrible his work is. So that might have been one of the factors too. You had a terrible scriptwriter working on the project. David Goyer also worked on the script while he was at Sony and was even in talks to direct the film at one point. He explained that what they had planned to do to The Hollywood Reporter back in 2021. He said, what I liked the most about it was that it was mostly about a friendship between He-Man and Battle Cat. The idea was there had always been He-Man and different recipients of the Sword of Power, and that Battle Cat had always served at their side. And this was a new He-Man that Battle Cat and many people didn't think was worthy of the sword, so it was a story of the character earning the sword, but more importantly, earning the friendship of Battle Cat, who just thought this guy was a lightweight. I really liked it. I thought it was a fun story. There was a lot of humor in it, and it creeps up on you because Battle Cat sort of grudgingly accepts him, and it's Battle Cat's acceptance of He-Man that gave this version of the story heart. That sounds absolutely terrible. There's a reason probably why it didn't go forward at Sony, because that just sounds like trash. Sounds like box office bomb. Like, what? Why can't you just have He-Man being He-Man and fighting Skeletor, who's trying to destroy Eternia and take it over and claim the power sword for his own? It's not that hard to do a good He-Man story. As for the film at Netflix, the movie was expected to see an orphaned Adam discover he is Prince, who is expected to save a faraway land, a.k.a. Eternia. It would depict He-Man learning how to wield his powers and discovering why it is so important to save his true home from the forces of evil. So this just sounds like generic superhero origin story. And then why in the world did they make Adam an orphan? That's kind of weird too. So that sounds terrible too. So it sounds like they had a really bad script at Netflix as well. But I think what might be the biggest factor, obviously there's some factors there. The script sounds like it sucks. They've obviously got some big budget overruns already in pre-production between 30 and 60 million, according to the report from Variety. Interestingly enough, if you dig into that report from Variety, it also talks about some Netflix sources that Donnelly has that note that the budget really wasn't that big of a deal because Netflix's budget for all of their stuff has pretty much stayed flat at like 17 billion for like the past 3 or 4 years. Nevertheless, Donnelly does try and kind of spin this narrative that it was a budget thing, that they tried to pitch like $180 million budget for the movie. and that would included the rights that included the rights that Netflix acquired. It included all the pre-production stuff too that was already kind of like baked in. So that 30 to 60 million was already baked into that 180 million. And then he also tried to say that they tried to amortize it by having a second film be filmed at the same time the first one was, so film them back to back, so you're not having to like bring everyone back to the set to film the second one in case of it does well. But I don't know. I think it has more to do with Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelation being an absolute abysmal failure with audiences, and I think that significantly damaged the He-Man and Masters of the Universe brand. So that television series debuted in 2021 and was panned by audiences. The series has an abysmal 5.5 out of 10 rating on IMDb. You can see that almost 30% of people absolutely hated it with a 1. Only not even 19% gave it 10 out of 10. You have a terrible audience score, 38%. That's just absolutely abysmal on Rotten Tomatoes. So I definitely think that probably is a huge, huge factor into why Netflix might have passed on this live action project. Just probably not seeing the return in the He-Man brand after they damaged it with the Kevin Smith show. So what do you think? Do you think it's budget? Do you think it's awful script? I don't think awful script really would change things. I mean, look at all the sludge that they're putting out today. Like, awful scripts seem to be par for the course for any kind of major big budget film nowadays. So I don't think that would actually be a reason for them to scrap the movie. I think really budget concerns for sure. We're seeing pretty much everyone tighten their belts, although we just had massive revenue increases from Netflix as they've changed up they've kind of cracked down on the password sharing stuff. So I think that kind of falls apart with the latest earnings results from Netflix. So I really think the biggest factor is this Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe Revelation series and how poorly it was received. And I do think at this point in time, that brand is damaged. You damage the brand with the hardcore audience. And I just don't think if you don't have the hardcore audience on board, that you are going to be able to get it to a broader general audience. I think you need that hardcore audience to spread the word about it. And I think that they need to put this on ice for a couple of years and then maybe bring it out when you've got a better script and people have forgotten about Masters of the Universe Revelation and how absolutely terrible it was.